Welcome to the Authentic Creative, expanding our capacity to feel good. I am your host, Siri Baruch Thornton, and I am over the moon, excited, delighted. It feels like Christmas and my birthday today because I have an incredible group of fantastic, beautiful, gorgeous goddesses of light here that have all generously donated their hearts and their authenticity and their creativity to the Authentic Creative previously. And I so enjoyed, and you as an audience so enjoyed their interviews so much that I thought, let's collect the people that you enjoyed and let's put them all in one space for a holiday celebration to celebrate over 200 episodes of The Authentic Creative. So thank you, ladies that are here, for your heart, your time, and all that you bring to the world, your light, the goddesses of light that you are. I am so happy that you're here. And thank you, audience, those listeners that have been here along the journey, along the way. It means so much to me that you have listened and resonated and enjoyed and interacted with this podcast for 3 years. And if you're just coming in this moment, then that's perfect too. And we're so excited and happy to have you here for the ride. So these are experts in their own right, in their own fields, all kind of spiritual entrepreneurs, women, if you will, entrepreneurs, spiritual women that all have a unique voice, a unique authenticity, and unique gift, or gifts, I should say, that they bring to the world, a unique perspective and way of, expanding their capacity to feel good. And the ways that they use their creativity are all unique as well. So I'm really curious to just dive in and start to ask these goddesses of light, these experts, like, what is it that is happening for you in this season of your life? Like, what are you bumping up against? What, that the people listening are going to resonate with, because we're all connected, we're all human, we all have these human struggles. So what are you bumping up against in this moment in time, in this season, in this beautiful holiday of December? We're publishing this today, December 5th. And then what are the ways, what were your favorite ways, or what's one way that you're finding to expand your capacity to feel good, like in your nervous system, in your ability to just be in more joy in your life? So we're gonna start by going around, and I'd love to start with you, Kat Caldwell Myers, you beautiful soul. Tell us about how you're doing, what season of life you're in this moment, what's challenging you, and what ways you're finding to expand your capacity to feel good as an authentic creative.
Wow, Siri, thank you so much. First of all, Goddess of Light is like a really big title. And I just want to reflect back to you how incredible you are and how incredible this beautiful group of women is. It's just a gift to be with you all. So thank you for gathering us. I feel really humbled. I am in a season of birth. And for me, both of my children were born in December. I have one who turned 9 yesterday, Gracie, and my other daughter will turn 7. And we got a lot of birth going on. And what I learned when I was pregnant, coming into the holiday season for the first time, was DSD, do something differently, and learn how to be in the holidays, not in the hustle. Because I mean, I was so swollen, just ready to, and you have to be so careful with germs and all of those things. And being able to just be home and hibernate and listen to my body and tune in like the bears do, like all of the animals do. And so much of my teaching, and I might show her to you, but I have this little puppy in my lap here, is looking to the animals. What are the animals doing? My podcast, The Adventure Paradox, is coming up on 2 years, but originally it was horses, mountains, and dogs, because those are the things that really light me up. And I know we have some guests who were on the show when it had that title. Those are the things that make me come alive, that help me remember to tune into my own breathing, to look around and see, what does this season invite? So for me, the repetition of winter Like I was taking a walk up Teton Canyon yesterday. I live right outside of Jackson Hole, Wyoming. And if you want to come visit, we have a retreat coming up Mother's Day weekend. So stay tuned and check out what we're doing. We teach podcasting, and I really teach women to live they want, that they're not choosing for whatever reason they're living some other adventure. So for me, podcasting was a way to start to really not only hear myself, but acknowledge what path am I on and what path am I taking my children on. So I want to wrap up. I don't know if I've talked for 3 or 4 minutes yet, but this little magical wand jumped out, ladies. And if you're listening and you can't see it, it's a snowflake wand. And whether you live in a place where you have the wonder and magic of snow, this season comes around every year, and we're only going to have one 2024. So right now I'm running a series called the Mommy Olympics, and it's this reminder for moms, like, how are you engaging in play in
Mm.
this season? Could you just be present? Because you only get this one adventure. So that's been huge for me, is just to stay totally present, tune in with nature to thing, because it came through as I was thinking about it before you asked me. I am really into castor oil packs. If you don't know what that is, they've totally changed my life. Yeah, I'm getting some snaps out there, and give yourself this gift of castor oil packs, because it has just totally changed me on this like healing protocol of tapping into our body, because so much of what's going on here affects everything else. So that's the magic I have to share today. And I just feel super honored to be here. I hope you'll follow me at the Adventure Paradox. And I love you all so much.
Kat, we just have to see the puppy though. Can we see the
Well,
puppy?
okay. This is Pearl. You can see the puppy. Do you want to be seen? Whoop.
That's the medicine right there. It's all about this puppy. Oh
This
my
is the
gosh.
medicine.
Kat
If
came to my
if
breathwork
you can
class
find yourself some puppies or kittens.
and all the little puppies were like just born and they were all nursing when she was in the breathwork class, right? Remember that? And they're so much bigger
Oh
now.
yeah, it was magical, and they have tails. And in your meditation, they all started wagging their tails for the first time while nursing. So
It
don't forget
was
meditation. I didn't say that. And one last, since I have her up here, some amazing book clubs coming out for our wonderful friend Kathy Heller and her book, Abundant Ever After, which just came out. So check that
Yay!
out. Let's read it.
I j- I just finished the audiobook version yesterday. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, Kat, for being here. I'm so appreciative of you. You're so amazing. I will put in the show notes whatever you want me to put in there. And thank you for blessing us with your heart and your adventurous soul and for those hot tips. So, Erin, our special star on the tree guest, thank you for being here so much. Please share with us whatever is on your heart. Like, what are you coming up against? What are you bumping up against? What is giving you joy? What are some hot tips for us this holiday season?
Thank you so much for having me, and it's so nice to be present with all of you and all these wonderful women you curated. I've been thinking a lot. We're about to move into a new year, and what do we do during this time? It's seasonal, it's cyclical. We set goals. And this is a time where I really like to encourage my community to get into alignment, set goals with soul, and manifest. I actually had a free manifestation masterclass yesterday, all about getting into clarity around your deepest desires and dreams and using diverse techniques and rituals to call in your deepest desires and dreams. I manifested my soulmate husband, my book deal, my freedom-based lifestyle. And I know there are so many practices out there for people to tap into. You can hear my daughter Eden singing in the background. But the thing that I want to talk about is, even if you are clear, even if you know what you desire to manifest, you do not know better than God. You do not know better than the divine. And we can be so obsessed and connected and pushing to will the thing that we desire into our lives, and it doesn't leave room for the miracle. So what I know to be true is magic is real, miracles occur naturally, yet you need to have space for them. this is when surrender comes into play. And I have a hard time with surrender. I know so many of us are control, like, I don't love the word control freaks, but really control obsessed, which is honestly an illusion. And for me, the way that I'm working with surrender is by becoming more sincere. So, any of us people pleasers here, recovering people pleasers? So this is something that I've been working on for so long. And I think when it comes to people pleasing, it's not, and then everyone around us assumes that we are going to agree to the contract that we normally would have agreed to when you are on the path of people pleasing. And it's not their fault because we abandon ourselves along the way to be the nice person, to keep the peace. And I am noticing that for me, if I am looking to be sincere, if I am always on this path of people pleasing, that I am lacking sincerity. I am lacking authenticity. And I've been on this path for so long as a middle child, as a peacekeeper, as a secret keeper, which I know so many of us are. So the thing that I'm meditating on and working with is, as I am clear on my deepest desires and dreams, and if anybody desires that masterclass, you can just message me 2025 on Instagram at Erin R. Doppelt, and I'll send you this manifestation masterclass. It's quite potent. And as I am clear on my deepest desires and dreams, I am also leaving room for the miracle and walking the path of being sincere with myself, because my book, Nothing Can Stop You, A Revolutionary Guide to Unleash Your Authentic Self, requires a commitment to always being sincere, requires a commitment for you to show up in your most authentic way, because that's how we're uniquely coded, right? With our desires. That's our most nourished life. So this is what I'm meditating on. This is what I'm hanging out with. I'm glad that this resonates with a lot of you. And yeah, my book is Nothing Can Stop You, A Revolutionary Guide to Unleash Your Authentic Self. It's $12 right now on Amazon, which is very exciting, I think, because of Black Friday. And I'm running a special right now that if you buy 22 books, you get a one-on-one breakthrough session with me, which is a 50-minute deep dive session. And something that I'm really excited about, I'm 1 year postpartum. I have a 1-year-old baby. And when I was early on in that healing process and moving from the maiden to the mother, all I dreamt about was sipping espressos in Tuscany. So I am bringing all of you, anybody who feels called, you get to work with me for 6 months virtually in a group setting, and then we are meeting for a life-changing, delicious retreat in Tuscany, Italy. And it's all about being deeply well-fed, spiritually, emotionally, physically. It is not always, my belief, and supported by research, is anxiety, depression, compulsive negative thought patterns. These are typically symptoms that you are ready, quote unquote, ready for a spiritual awakening. And so many of us are just understimulated. And how do we become back into alignment? Stimulation, so love of learning and curiosity. So I'm Erin R. Doppelt on social media. I'm a spiritual psychology and meditation teacher. I'm so happy to be present with all of you, and message me and we can connect.
Oh my gosh, Erin, I love you so much. You're so incredible. And please listen to everyone's episode that's on here. Erin's is one of the more recent episodes, and I so am just loving the Tuscany thing. Like, my heart is like, ah! So if you're feeling called, talk to Erin, talk to me, because maybe we'll like find that December miracle and we'll go together. Yeah. Thank you, Erin. So my mom is the reason that I have been led to so many incredible spiritual teachers, clairvoyants, meditation teachers, just Reiki, all of it. Like the healer that I am is so, so, so much due to my mom and her path and leading me and bringing me and paying for all of these courses and like just being like, just go, I'll pay for it. And she since has now retired, but she's very active in, I'll let you talk about the things that you do, Mom, but just share with us anything you want to share.
Sure. Thanks, Siri. Thanks for the opportunity to be here with all of you. I've been walking this path for a very long time. So, and it's taken a lot of circuitous, it's gone round and round in many ways, including, like Siri was born in an ashram, at home, so it's just been an incredible journey. It's when you get to be older, you start to look back and reflect on what's it been for? And have I done what I came here to do? And so what I look at now is how can I continue to take steps to, to provide or contribute something that's really going to keep pushing the needle of how this world shows up in the direction of peace and justice. And so the different nonprofit organizations that I promote are on a website called Peaceful Advocacy. And it's everything from, the American Red Cross and donating blood, which can literally save 3 people's lives when you go and donate blood, not to mention that it's a way of releasing karma, like anything from the past that where you have, intentionally or unintentionally caused harm. By donating blood, you can actually do something very significant in this world. I spent a lot of my childhood kind of not wanting to be on the planet, wanting to be in the chaos that I kept witnessing around me. And it took me a long time to recognize that I need to embrace and accept what I was born into, and that there's an opportunity every day to make some kind of contribution, whatever that looks like, whether it's, a small act of kindness towards someone, or, emailing your congressperson, your member of Congress, about an issue that's really important to you. So these are the kinds of things that I have literally grappled with throughout my life and come to terms with in how do I express my spirituality on a day-to-day basis. And it happens in our relationships. It all boils down to that. It really happens in those relationships to ourselves, to each other, and to the world. So I don't know if you have other questions, Siri, that you want me to talk about, or things that you want.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else about the advocacy work that you do that you want to share in case anyone listening is interested?
Yeah, well, there's several nonprofits, as I mentioned, and one of them is Friends. The Quakers have been doing peace advocacy for many, many, many years, and they teach you step by step how to go and talk to your member of Congress, and how to actually advocate for women's issues, and how to advocate for, like I was looking on my social this morning, and one of my senators, Patty Murray, is advocating right now for getting toxic ingredients out of cosmetics. So it can be something as, important as that, and all the way down to whatever, is true for you, whatever sings true for you and is important to you. And you can have a voice. We all have a voice. And to be able to use that voice in service of the issues that you feel like are important to you, and that the contributions you have to be able to make.
Beautiful. Thank you, Mom. And then also the sex trafficking
And
advocacy that you do.
anti-sex trafficking.
Anti-sex trafficking. Yeah.
Yeah, Shared Hope International. And it's a woman that started a program. She went to India to visit and saw a lot of brothels, and was trying to figure out, how do I take care of these people? How can I make a difference? And she's her foundation is here but it's international. It's here in Vancouver, where I live. So I get to interact in that way as well. Like especially children who are, taken from their homes or that get lured into becoming, a sex victim, and they get treated like prostitutes when they have to go to jail, or instead of the victims, and being able to advocate for those young people who are dealing with so much intense stuff on the
Yeah.
planet.
Yeah. That's really important work. So we'll put the link for that as well in the show notes in case anyone's interested. And you can ask my mom if you have questions as well. Thank you so much for not only being here today, Mom, but for just everything that you've given me and the ways that you support me and my kids. You're just the best. I love you.
Thank you, sweetheart.
You're so welcome. Michelle, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, but I'm very wary of going next because our dear friend Sierra has a little one she's needs to put down. So she's asked to go next. So I'm going to waive my spot and I'll come up after
Oh,
Sierra.
generous of you. Thank you. Sierra.
Thank you, Michelle. Oh gosh, I'm teary-eyed after your mom's share and just the interaction between you two. So allow me to compose myself. Also, I just really want to thank you, Siri, for including me in this group of magical women and congratulate you on 200 episodes. That's really, really remarkable. So bravo. I'm so
Thank
inspired by
you.
you.
Thank you.
Well, hi everyone. I'm Sierra Sophia Mercier. I'm a mom, clearly. I have to go soon to put my little one down. I'm also a former competitive figure skater, an actress, and now an author. I wrote the book How to Attract Your Cosmic Love Partner. It's a 5-step guided workbook on it just compiled everything that I did that I felt like led me to finding my cosmic love partner, which, insert twin flame, soulmate, whatever works for you. Cosmic love partner is what summed it up for me. And yeah, and I put it in a workbook so people can do the practices and ceremonies and the work that I felt like allowed me to call that kind of love in. But just going back to the theme of our meeting today, and you had asked us, how do we tap into that creative flow and what inspires creativity for me? I noticed that sometimes I don't always feel inspired to create. And I am an artist. I'm also a floral designer and I make custom Buddhist.
Award-winning floral designer.
Thank you, Siri. This is true. And I make custom Buddhist prayer beads, and I consider myself an artist, but I don't always feel inspired to create until I just start creating, and I find that what inspires me are just different colors of the season. I remember this one time I had a floral job, and my client asked me, what colors do I think we should work with? And I was so inspired by this fig tree because the fig was this like bright chartreuse green, and inside was this like coral pink, and I was like, that, and so there's so many beautiful colors right now in this fall season, oranges and reds and yellows. And so I find a lot of my inspiration from nature and just grouping colors together. And then also just starting, like last night I made a centerpiece and I didn't know where I was going, or what it was going to look like. And I just started putting things together, and then the inspiration came. I've heard this quote that by a writer, I don't know who, but it's essentially, I don't wait to write until I'm creative or until inspiration strikes. I start writing and then inspiration comes. And As far as like feel good practices for me, I chant the mantra Nam Myoho Renge Kyo on a daily basis. And I find that reading and acupuncture really support my nervous system. And also just practicing pure presence when I'm with my daughter, really looking into her eyes and listening to her and taking in her her physical body and her spirit and just pure presence with my daughter or with our dog. Like that is so nourishing. So,
Thank you. That
yeah,
is
thank-
amazing. And just your energy when you're speaking just kind of drops me in. All of you do, but it's just, I'm just noticing that. I just feel like, ugh, thank you, Sierra, for your energy.
thank you. My friend calls my husband and I the Prozac couple because every time they hang out with us, we just like mellow everyone out.
Totally. Totally. Oh my goodness. Okay, Michelle.
I
What?
totally understand why you have that title because I feel very relaxed after that. So thank you, Sierra.
So, Michelle, tell
Okay.
us about what you do and what you're coming up against and how you're experiencing your ability to expand your capacity to feel good as a creative, authentic.
So my name is Michelle Rios. I am a speaker, a coach, soon to be author, and podcast host. My podcast is Live Your Extraordinary Life. And it was really born out of a world of contrasts, which is, I think what we all grapple with. I had a lot of darkness earlier in my life, and you have to go through the darkness to find the light. And I think it was something that Aaron said earlier that really resonated with me about making room, particularly this time of year for the divine. Um, I would even take it a step further. Yes, make space. For me, one of my most important practices for creatives, for anything I do that's creative or creating, is creating more space in my life because it tends to be a very hectic experience, right? I'm a mom, I have big dogs, I live right outside of a metropolitan center. So there's a lot happening on any given day. But creating space not just for the divine as an experience outside of me, but recognizing that the divine runs through us, that we are the divine, that we are the magic. And I think that's so lost so much of the time. We run into these scenarios where we're looking for the answers. And certainly, this is my understanding growing up, looking for the answer outside of myself against the next award or the next promotion or the next scholarship or the next experience, then I'll feel fulfilled. And what I came to understand is, quite frankly, the darkness that I went through going that route created the space needed to have that awakening. So, what I would say is the more I pursued and the more I went for the next thing that was going to fill me up, the more I became separated from myself. And yet, at the same time, it was that exact separation and that pain that allowed me to come back home to myself. And so I often see, particularly this time of year, a lot of people are going through a lot of painful experiences, reliving, scars from childhood and trauma or just loneliness and the feeling of being separated. And that's where I think the big challenge us collectively is to remember at our essence that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, that our job here is to not accumulate, not have more, but really give more. And it's interesting because I knew this at a very young age, and yet I didn't know how to use it. So I remember being kind of lost living in the city. I think Anna and I've talked about those times. She was in New York and I was in DC, and having these experiences of like life's big and lots happening. It's super exciting. And yet there was this void of like, is this all there is? Is there something more than this? And then I remember my mom, so Christine, the wisdom of moms, my mom said to me, why don't you start asking instead of what can God do for you? Ask how you may serve. And that became a practice, it became a daily practice. And it's a practice that I've had since my teens and now to this day. So many decades of saying, how may I serve? Because I do believe that in the service, we find our purpose. We find why we came here. And for me, I came here to help other women recognize that this life isn't meant to be not only mundane or monotonous, because I would say mine has never been mundane or monotonous. I like those kind of days, but I thought it was going to be around the corner of the next big achievement. And instead, what I've recognized after doing all of that, checking all of those boxes and still feeling like, ugh, there's something more. I know there's something more, that it really has been about recognizing that we each have some unique gifts that if we trust and if we have the courage, we really muster that courage to summon those gifts forward and start to use them and start to apply them. That's where the magic happens. And I think our conventional wisdom of, oh, but I have to make a certain amount of money and I have to achieve a certain amount and I have to have a certain kind of house in a certain neighborhood and a certain zip code, that's where we get all spun up. But if we have the courage to step out of that and really stick with what our gifts are and what our gifts can give to other people, a lot of those things, if they're really the things you want, and that's the big question, they start to pop up and follow you anyway, right?
Yeah.
And so I work with women on creating really wealthy lives. And I say wealthy with a capital W. It's not just monetary. It's really about creating this experience of life that's rich, that's full, that you realize that you were meant to have an extraordinary full life. That means lots of highs and guess what, ladies? Some lows too. It's the peaks and the valleys. That's what makes an extraordinary life. And so I feel like that's been my calling to really walk in this path of shedding light, of holding space, of helping people come away from the chaos of the modern world and realize that you can be in the world and not of the world. And that really it is about recognizing that we are all here, all of you women here, we're all just helping to walk each other home, right? This
Yeah.
is part of the journey. We're not here by coincidence. And the more we can have these awakening moments on a regular basis and be in this space, the money you need comes, the people you need to help you do the next thing appear, the experience and opportunity that you were hoping for all of a sudden shows up unexpectedly, and you walk through the next door and you take the next step. And all this imperfect action and momentum is created based on the belief, I think it goes back to this very simple notion. We're spiritual beings on a human journey. We're meant to try things. We're meant to go do things and fail and experience and love and cry and have. And I think when we get into that mode of we're here to do it all, not sit on a narrow path of I only want to experience joy and happiness and happy times and perfection and security, which was a big one for me, having grown up, we talked about this a lot, having grown up without a lot, you start to seek security. When you let go of those needs and recognize you have everything you actually need within you, all of the things that you think you need kind of show up, and then you can decide, do I really want more of that experience or not? So
Michelle, thank you. That is so much wisdom. Thank you so much for putting us in this wider, zoomed out perspective. And I feel really like in my alignment now from hearing everything you just said. We're all just nodding along like, yes, 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 yes. And tears in our eyes. And it's just beautiful. Thank you so much.
well, thank you, Siri. Thank you for bringing us together. It really is an honor to be with all of these extraordinary women and you being the one of them. I love you tons.
I love you too. Dana, will you please share? And this is, as Michelle said, it's about collaboration, not competition. So please don't feel like if someone just spoke and they said something that blew your mind, that felt so good, that just brought you home, that you have to like top that or whatever. Like this is about our collaborative sharing of our hearts, our truth, our authenticity, like whatever's like bringing us home creatively, authentically, is perfect. Whatever you share is perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Siri. I agree. I'm so humbled and honored to be part of this amazing group of women. And Siri, 200 episodes. That's amazing. Congratulations, my friend. Yes, I love you. I'm celebrating you. So I'm Dana Schmit, a coach and sound healing facilitator. Um, Starting a podcast very soon. So look for that,
Yay.
Harmonize and Rise. And I echo everything that the woman who spoke before me said. And for me personally, in this season, the things I'm leaning into are slowing down. This is the season, right? Winter is the season when we are meant to, nature is nudging us to slow down. And yet somehow we've decided we need to speed it up and do all the things. And I'm really leaning into slowing down and listening. So my intentions this holiday season are slowing down, tuning in and listening, which really helps me slow down as a coach and sound healing facilitator. Listening and tuning into both internally, my internal world, and the stories I'm telling myself, as well as listening externally. Sometimes I'll be like in the car on the way to pick up my kids and my mind is racing. And for me to just slow it down, I just like stop it, turn off the radio, turn off anything external, and just listen to the calm and the peace around me. So tuning in and listening, and also that surrender and trust. I'm in this transition, as we all are. We're constantly in transition in life, right? Like even when we know, even if we think we know where we're headed and we have a plan, what somebody said it earlier, when we have a plan, we limit ourselves from the miracles that can drop in. And this is something that I've been really wrestling with the past few months because I am very much a control freak or control prone, I'll say. And
I wouldn't have known that, Dana. I would not have known that.
really,
Nope.
really. Well, and it turns out looking backwards on life, the best things in my life have dropped in out of my control. I had no idea where they were coming from. I had no idea. I could not have orchestrated their landing in my lap. Yet I think I'm in control of so many things. So the surrender of letting life take control and saying, thank you for this life and thank you for my gifts. And I surrender to what is best. I surrender to the people that are put in front of me today. I surrender to the words that will come through from me today. I surrender to the life that's happening that I am not victim to. I find too, I get caught in the slipstream of fear and the slipstream of wanting to control, and remembering that I am not a victim of this life. I am not a character in this story. I am the author. I'm holding the pen. I loved the magic wand that was held up earlier by you, Kat. And this is my magic wand, honestly. I slow down my thoughts by writing them down and then getting them out of my head and looking at them on paper. And then that gives me like clarity, and then slowly breathing my way through the thoughts to give myself more space and really ask, is this meant for me? Is this thought one that I want to continue thinking? Because as we know, our brains love patterns and repeating, and our thoughts are moving so quickly. So those are my offerings to slow down.
Yeah, and you do story work specifically.
Yeah, so slowing down my thoughts by exactly doing the story work of writing down the story I'm telling myself, especially when I'm in a fear state, when I'm finding myself in a victim mentality, when I'm finding myself saying, how can I ever get all of this done? That phrase, how can I ever get all of this done? It just puts my brain in a tizzy, and it's like, how can I get this done? Is 4 letters removed and a completely different energy, and gives my brain something more tangible to work with. How can I get this done? Okay, now I can make progress. So, right, slowing down my thoughts, slowing down my stories, and just slowing down. I was taking my kids to school this morning, or we're homeschooling. So taking them to their nature outdoor program, which is very cool. And I found myself again, like, yeah, in the car, just rattling, rattling, rattling around. The words are just rattling around, and it's like noise. And I love this. I love describing this synergy between sound healing and the story work that I do. It's like we hear noises all day. We hear a plane go by, a door slam, a cough, a sneeze. They're just noise. And when we hear a song that's intentional with direction, our bodies want to move. Like we were dancing before we came on. Our bodies want to move. Our bodies feel a visceral difference between noise and intention and direction. And I feel the same goes with our stories that we say to ourselves. It's just noise until we slow it down and put some intention and direction behind the thoughts, the stories we're telling ourselves.
Dana, thank you so much. If you ever get a chance to have a sound bath with Dana, she's amazing, as you may know. Thank you so much for your shares and the reminder to slow down and to be intentional and to really choose like what we want to think and what we want our story to be. And that part about being the author, I love that. It
Thank
just
you.
reminds us that we are our highest authority and we get to create what we want. Thank you, Dana. Jodi, please share with us what's on your heart. What are you learning right now? What is working?
Wowee. Well, first of all, breathing is. And after listening and being in this energy of everybody here, wow, I'm just really so humbled, Siri, to be in your presence, to be in the presence of all these incredible women. We're all so much the same, yet we have differences, and yet I'll say we're really so much the same. Wow, so where am I now? What season am I in, and where am I? So all my little notes I wrote down to share are actually kind of now getting pushed away because I am, yeah, Anna, you can relate, right? Because I'm just so brought to, I guess, more alignment and even in a deeper place for myself. So I'm Jodi Kahn. I turned 60 this year. I'm a mama. I'm a bubby. I'm a wife. I'm also a coach. I'm a social worker, light worker, healer. I'm evolving. I've always been evolving. But I hit this milestone of 60 and I feel like I'm just getting started, really working consciously, really my whole life, consciously since teenage years, all the way up, and always building myself, going deeper, building out. I will say I was blessed always with this connection to source. I always felt connection to God, believed in God, lived a life of faith, live a life of observance and of rituals, of deepening my connection. And what I've found now in this season at 60, what I've kind of broken up into as I became a bubby, as my mom passed away, as I went through all of life stuff. I'm a mom of 3 married children now, all in their 20s, surviving a lot of my husband, extended family, death, illness, like celebrations, right? So much stuff. What I've come to now and what I really want to share and what I'm really owning and living by is our self-connection, is the message that we're really all enough. We are enough just by being alive. We all matter and we are beautiful and enough just as we are. And we all have the other stuff. We all have that chatter, as I know Dana said. We're all kind of saying the same thing different ways, right? But we have a lot of chatter. We have a lot of stories, ones that we absorbed, ones that were told to us, ones that we told ourselves. You know, we have habits of being, we have habits of thinking, we have habits of reactions, right? Our brain brings us there. We're wired that way, which sometimes works, right? It's really great. You don't have to think about how to brush your teeth in the morning, right? But at the same time, we also might not think when someone kind of touches a nerve and we go into a whole response of that, which may or may no longer serve us.
Mm.
And so what I've come to now and what I really feel so strongly about, and I'm excited to bring out to the world in my podcast, God willing, early 2025, called
Yay.
The Hug, is to really hug everyone. It starts with hugging ourselves. It starts with the HUG, honor ourselves, understand unconditional love for ourselves, right? And the G, live in gratitude, bring in grace. And these are things we need to cultivate. So where am I now? I'm in a season of an empty house most of the time when I'm not dog sitting or having the kids come home, which I cherish and love. So in this time, I've come to really cherish spaciousness. I've created spaciousness at times, right? You can be online in a carpool and put the music on and rock it out and give yourself that space. Or for me, it's early morning. It's early morning spaciousness. I get up early. I thank God first thing. I don't use the word journal always. It used to be a 4-letter word. It took me a long time to cultivate that habit, but I call it writing, my morning writing. And I write down gratitudes. I write down it's simple, something as simple as the vision to see the sun, to see the sunrise, to witness it again, to have rain. I appreciate that too, right? The cup of coffee, spaciousness, surrender, right? Really asking for help, cultivating rituals and habits like prayer, like meditation, like yoga, like morning stretching. We're spiritual beings living a human life, right? We're actually one soul, separated only by bodies,
Mm.
but we have bodies. And so, although I also like to pay attention, although we have thoughts, we're not our thoughts. We have bodies, we're not our bodies, right? We have emotions, we're not our emotions. And yet we get to figure out how we want to respond, take care of, nurture, and nourish all of those parts of us. And so, what I've been working on all year, and now in this holiday season, even more, it is about the rituals and the habits. It's about nourishing mind, body, and soul, and that they all matter. And maybe it's now moved positions like energy, spiritual nourishment might come first. At the same time, if we don't take care of our bodies, it really matters, right? Eat like
Mm.
crap, feel like crap.
Yeah.
If we're not hydrated, we're just not going to feel good. It's very hard to be at your best place when we don't take care of our physical body. We're
Mhm.
meant to be connected. So thank you, Siri, for connecting us, right? Everyone cheers, right? Who's got their
Cheers.
water and tea?
Cheers for hydrating. Oh, Jodi, I love how simple, and I love the name Hug. Oh my gosh, congratulations. I can't
Thank you.
wait to hear your podcast. That's incredible. So
Thank
it's
you.
just like,
Thank you.
so visceral. We just get it. So
Mm.
so simple.
And
Thank
you
you
know
so
what?
much, Jodi.
If I can just say that one piece, Siri, the visceral part through the holiday season, for all of us to acknowledge, to honor our visceral, our soma, our somatic reactions and responses, and take some time and spaciousness, minutes or maybe even seconds, to honor it, to breathe, to ground, to realign and recenter, and live from this heart-centered place where you cultivate your alignment, where you calm your nervous system. There's so much stuff coming at us this season. And we have so much duality going on, right? Excitement and pressure, and missing and loving. And like, that's what being human is. And like you said earlier, let's embrace it all, give space for it all, while we also nourish and cultivate the ones that are really the ones that elevate us, our relationships, our family, our lives, the world of joy and love, um,
Exactly.
generosity.
Exactly. 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 So much wisdom. I love these women. I love you, Jodi. Tori, thank you for sharing. Tori, I can't wait to hear what's going on with you because I haven't spoken to you in a hot minute.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Tori. I'm coming to you from beautiful Beverly Hills, California. I am a coach and energy psychologist. I do have 3 degrees in psychology, 25 years of spiritual study, and I only share that so that I can give you the juxtaposition of where I came from. Both my parents had drug and alcohol addiction. I was born into welfare, really completely different version of who I am today. And so the holidays have not always been easy for me. They were often quite traumatic and difficult, and a lot of us have talked about the darkness. And so I wanted to share that, the holidays for most of my life were actually not a great time. And my nervous system actually kind of remembers that this wasn't a good time for me, that I didn't have the happy, happy, joy, joy.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to share as someone with obviously a lot of experience and a very busy practice for the last 13 years, but also as, a trauma thriver, and what are the things that I do that our listeners can do. All these beautiful women have shared so much wisdom, and obviously Siri with 200 episodes has so much of this we can go back to, but I wanted to give people these really beautiful, tangible practices, mind, body, and soul, that they can go to and say, what is it that I need right now? I'm someone with, like I said, a lot of trauma, a really sensitive nervous system. I know probably all of you here, those of us who are the wounded healers, we walk the fire to teach. And so I've lost both of my parents. I went through a divorce after 20 years of marriage. My sister died. Like, there isn't many traumas I haven't survived. So I just share that so people understand when I say these things, they're the things that are tried and true, and they work. And so for the mind, I'm a big journaler, and people always get confused. Like, what do I write? Just write whatever's coming up. I always say, don't think it, ink it. Because once it gets on the paper, you can read it back. And just that form of release is so powerful for you. And really ensuring that, um, you don't have to go into gratitude. You don't have to analyze it. You don't have to do anything. Just really allowing yourself to flow, to process, to let it out. I found a lot of women actually really just need to talk. So I always encourage you to find someone you can connect with, to just unload. Someone will hold space for you without any judgment, without telling you what to do, without trying to fix it. We don't need people to tell us what to do. We need that space for someone to reflect back to us our own beauty, our own wisdom, what's coming up for us. Maybe, the best friends I have will say, like, hey, have you thought of this? And, we all do that because we're all coaches here anyway. So it's like we have that to lean on each other. And then the big thing that I'm really leaning into the last couple of years is just fully feeling my feelings. The only way out is through. And
Yeah.
one of my favorite professors used to say that, whatever you're feeling, whether it's anxiety or depression, like, invite it to tea. And I remember I got really annoyed because I was like, I don't want to feel it though. And it was such a powerful thing, because as I've gone through so many difficult times, and I'm someone who I'm completely sober, I just out of choice, so I've gone through all the things I've gone through without a single glass of wine. I've only had my prayer, my meditation, my spiritual practices, and feeling my feelings has probably been one of the most powerful. Is just to sit in it and allow myself not to ruminate, not to get stuck, but to really feel the weight of it, and allow myself to cry tears that until they fill my bra, if that's what's necessary. To just
Yeah.
let it out, and to allow myself to process it through, which brings us into the body. So what are some new practices that I've done? I mean, I always encourage like movement and breath work and all those things, but some things I've experienced lately was with my nutrition. Increasing my protein has been really great for my nervous system, and I've done a lot of research on that. With exercise, I've always done yoga and Pilates and walking, and so I've added weightlifting in the last year, and particularly as a woman in her 40s, getting like that strength back on my body has felt amazing, and it's made me feel like so good. And so I'm really encouraging a lot of my clients to get into that. And then also, just when it comes to the body, is like, so many of us have talked about it, but knowing that the ego speaks first and she speaks loudest. The body will never lie to you. The mind will make up all kinds of crap. So always listening to what's coming up, accepting what is, and being okay with, okay, this person makes me feel a little nauseous, or I feel off. I don't have to unpack those details. I need to get the space and sit with myself. And the question I always ask myself is this my truth, or is this my trauma?
Mm.
Is this my truth that I need to walk away from this person, or is this a little bit of my trauma coming up and I'm getting into my own attachment styles and all kinds of stuff?
Mm.
So those are some of my practices, because obviously, you ladies here, but also the listeners, they might be seeing family members that trigger them and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
traumatized them in the past. And so all that stuff is going to come up. So I just encourage people to listen to your body, And if you need space from someone, just trust it and just know that your body is not going to lie to you. Your mind's going to say, "Oh, you're not being a nice person. You're not being good. If you were truly loving, you would just accept this horrible uncle or whoever it is that's in your life." Nope, not doing it. And then soul-wise, I'm part Native American, so I'm very connected to nature, which we all talked about. That's a big one for me to connect to my soul, but also just prayer and meditation. And meditation can look like anything. I think so much of us judge what that looks like. And it's really, meditation is anytime you're sitting with yourself in solitude and watching your own mind. That's all it is. It doesn't have to be humming on a mountaintop. It's never going, the mind is, its job is to think, and it's always going to think. So if I have that awareness, I'm meditating. And then also prayer. I like to keep prayer simple. I always pray, help is a prayer. And I don't always like beg God for things. I try to pray for the strength to get through what I need to get through, the wisdom to know what I need to know. And also, I pray to be transformed into the person that I'm meant to be.
Oh my gosh, Tori, you packed so much goodness in, just like everyone did.
Hopefully,
But thank you.
I made it quick.
Oh, perfect. I mean, you've just condensed so much wisdom into such a short period of time. Thank you so much. And I think it's incredibly miraculous that, you've come through what you've come through and that you're helping so many women because of it. So thank you. And I know Michelle has a similar story. You guys should interview each other. Oh, so good. So much goodness. Meagan, I'm so excited to hear what you have to share with us.
This is so powerful. I'm just so glad to be here as a listener today. And Siri, congratulations on 200 episodes. This is just such a beautiful example of you showing up for yourself. And my work is all based around self-love. So I'm a singer, I'm a songwriter, and I like to say I'm a self-love advocate. I think this season for me is what I would call the balsamic season, if you're thinking about the moon phases. So this is where, it's about to go into complete darkness before a new moon. And in the balsamic phase, we are assessing, collecting, kind of reviewing and harvesting in a way, things that we had planted, 9 months ago, and last year. And I think in this time, as much as I do think it's a great time to set goals, I also think it's a really beautiful time to look back and reflect, because while we are, I think as a culture, very much guided to aspire for the next level up, or, maybe spiritual, cycle, if you will, I think it's really important to see and notice how we've carried ourselves through the ups and downs of this last year. Because when we can take that time to acknowledge ourselves, we foster more inner love and inner strength. And from that place, I think we can shine and give more. I released a song at the beginning of November that's called Moments in Between. And it is about that exact thing, about like really finding fulfillment from within, and it not being about always trying to get the next accolade, or that we're defined by our darkest moments either, that we're really defined by how we continue to show up for ourselves. So that's what this season is about for me. And I think, 200 episodes is a beautiful example of that. That's what you've done. So kudos to you. And, I think I just want to offer this to the world, like as a musician and as somebody who's trying to share this message of self-love. I think I'd love to find more opportunities to connect with women. So if you're interested in following me, you can do that at meaganmusic.com. And I would love to be a part of women's retreats and share my music in those gatherings and just foster more of this connection, because like Jodi said, we all come from the same source energy, and we're just different fractals of light, that are all here and reflecting that back to each other. So thank you, Siri, for creating this collective energy for us today to see that all in each other and see it within ourselves.
Oh, it's so beautiful. Megan's music is incredible. The experiences she creates are 10-dimensional. They're not, it's not just a concert. Her music is so soulful and beautiful and amazing and lovely. And you're such an amazing creative. So, you guys will, if you don't know her music already, please check it out. Megan, I love you. And I can't wait to hear what's going on with you, Anna.
Hello, hello, hello. I love being here. Thank you so much, Siri. 200 episodes. I know it's been said, but how does it feel for you?
Well, it feels really rewarding right now because the treasures of the heart have been collected. That's the most important thing that I could ever do is collect these treasures of the heart, which are you women friends. Like that was a dream, was to have, after COVID, it got really isolating. It was to like, after we left LA, to like have more women friends that get me and that I get and that we vibe on this soul level that are like really committed to their growth. And that's you guys. That's the best thing I could ever have is all of you in my life. It feels great.
I'm going to thank you on behalf of everybody. All the hearts are going up. I don't know if you guys, if you're watching or if you're listening, but this is just can I curse?
Yes.
I just don't, I was like, oh, it's coming out. I got to check real quick. How fucking cool to be alive right now, guys. Like in the past, when you would go and move away from your community, you're just like there by yourself, like going to a coffee shop, trying to figure it out. Like that wasn't that long ago. And here we are. I don't know any of you, and I know all of you. Right? Because we're not any different. And we have different stories and different feelings, but they're all the same. And we all just want to feel connected, period. And that looks a lot of different ways in all of the seasons of our life. And to what Jodi said, the first time I went on my spiritual awakening about 17 years ago, I'm a spiritual entrepreneur and faith coach, if I'm really honest. I've said business and life coach, but fuck that. I walk people back to their faith, right? I have a lot of religious trauma, so I'm like dealing with that. But I remember I went home to the mothership, which for me is Kripalu. It's in Western Massachusetts, if you know it.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, I checked in on a Sunday. It was a yoga teacher training. I wasn't in rehab. That would be way more interesting. This was just a yoga teacher training. And there I am. And it's like Sunday and I come from like a very perfect background. Everything looked good. It was total shit. And there I was walking, to get my yoga mat on a Tuesday morning at 7 a.m. And this girl is having a full on nervous breakdown in public in the hallway, hundreds of people everywhere. And the person I was with was like, yeah, girl, feel your feelings. And kept walking. And it was like this radical permission that I had never seen before to just be with how it is. Mm-hmm. And that, Siri, my love, is what you allow for all of us to participate in. And for everybody in the 56, it's probably more countries now, but last I checked, it was 56 countries, something like that-ish. Countries for everybody listening. I know they're feeling your permission, right? And even though I know we don't need it, we fucking need it. Because I don't know about y'all, but like I didn't grow up in a family where people were encouraging me to feel my feelings. I am barely doing that. And I'm highly awake and aware. And I have a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. And I'm like, stop feeling your feelings, which is cool. Get in the car. So thank you. And I think if we could just do this one really simple, very silly kind of thing for me personally, it's what I've been working on, because the only way I can approach this is to have fun. Otherwise, it feels too dogmatic. It feels serious, and I try to get it right, and I go right back into the default of getting it perfect. So if I don't have fun with it, I'm pretty much sunk in the water, right? Like I'm in a goal summit. I'm talking to many of you. You'll be getting a message from me soon to be in the summit, and I'm going to wear a fucking wig because it's your wildly important goal, which also spells wig, and wigs are so fun. Everybody has fun when they're wearing a wig. I digress. My point in all of that is the season that I've been in is that every big thing that I've achieved has been when I have done it with God. So I used to take my dogs for a walk every morning, and I would listen to your podcast, or I'd listen to probably one of your podcasts or a song or whatever, talk to a friend or think about whatever. And instead, I have started not praying, but talking to God, actually having a conversation, giving enough time to ask a question, and then shut the fuck up and listen. And then the next thing is to do the thing. And when I do that, it has never led me wrong. Ever. I might not like it. I might not want to do it. I moved back to my small town, 2 houses down from my mom. I did this 4 years ago because I asked God, where would you have me live? And God would say this, and laugh at me. And I did it for 6 months. And it was always like, ha, 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 just having the best time. And I was like, bitch, if I knew, I would not keep asking you. So one day I'm walking with my mom, and I'll wrap it up. I'm walking with my mom. Jack was 1 year old. He was very little, and the dogs and Derek, and we're walking, and it was quiet. Nobody was talking. And I asked the question I've been asking for months. We were living in the middle of downtown Austin at the time. And I said, where would you have me live? And God said, right here. And I fell apart crying. I told my husband, we have to move here. And he said, over my dead body. My mom was like, oh, Anna, you don't mean that. You're not, all the things. And 3 months later, we moved here. And it's been the best thing for our family, for everything. Because when you negotiate with God, it doesn't work and it feels awful. So my biggest piece of advice is to start treating God like your best fucking friend. You value their opinion so much that when they give it to you, you take it, you receive it, and you take action. Because there's nothing more annoying than when you give your friend advice and they stay with that guy. Stop it. So I'm obviously a coach who's not very shy about it. You can find me on annakmorris.com and in Series World always. And I just love you so much.
Oh my gosh, you're hilarious. You're on fire today, Anna. Well, you always are whenever I talk to you.
No, a 2 and a 5-year-old boy and 2 dogs and a construction company and all the things. It keeps me on my toes. Yeah. I started coaching actually because I saw people buy houses who I was like, you're going to get a divorce. Like, why are you buying this house? And Derek was like, shut up. We need to sell this house. Like, please buy the house. And I was like, no, but don't. And then now I just have a coaching business. And I'm like, actually, let's talk. Like, well, we got a client one way or the other.
Oh my God, that's amazing.
So thank you.
I laughed, I cried, it was better than cats. Okay. Jana, what are you finding? You have so much incredible ancient wisdom that you tap into. What are you finding right now in this season?
This season for me is a season of reckoning and power. I've been going through an incredibly painful process of being in counseling with one of my kids. And, during the younger years, we had so much instability and abuse. I had a substance abuse problem. You know, I was dealing with all of my wounds. And so even though I was there, going over all this stuff again is showing me really where I'm at, really where my nervous system is at. And it's incredibly humbling. It's expensive in money, in time, in emotional energy. You know, I mean, after one of these sessions where, you know, I'll usually end up bawling like the whole time, I'm pretty much wiped out like for that day. So that's the part that is the season of reckoning, where it's just really taking a look at things, you know, as they were. It's also though about like doing the right thing, even though it's so painful, because it's the right thing for the next generation. You know, my intention, it's like I'm doing this at great personal sacrifice and suffering, because I want for my kid to go through this stuff in counseling as a young teenager, instead of, you know, having the kind of life that I had that led to the kind of childhood that they had.
Yeah.
And also at the same time, so I said it's a season of reckoning and power, because it's also showing me the immense power of all of the practices that I have learned over the years. So it's been over 20 years now since I first went to a holistic healing school. I had, you know, initiations and learned from, you know, masters of Tantra and meditation and healing and shamanism. And I always really had to fight in order to make myself available and have the money and justify to myself that like, oh, you know, Jana's doing another spiritual thing. You know, like I always was, I was not surrounded by people who were supportive of it. But now 20 years in, and going through a process that is, you know, I mean, so painful. Sometimes I just feel like I'm never going to stop crying if I let myself start. But now it's like, you know, the rubber has hit the road and the proof is in the pudding. And all these things are making it so that I'm not collapsing and breaking down. And I'm actually able to grow an enormous amount from it. It's not just, you know, it's not just digging into old things that are painful. It's also finding the, like the more like the power and kind of the prime source energy, or like the original essence that was underneath that pain. You know, before it took form in my nervous system as, you know, pain or trauma, before that, it was just energy. So it's a very powerful time, and a painful time and a powerful time. And I'm also finding that I am ministering to myself and healing myself more than I ever have in my life. So I had said I had a lot of teachers, and I was so blessed to have so many teachers. Also, I was addicted to teachers.
We know that one.
Yeah, you can relate.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I also was addicted to teachers. And so I'm watching myself and how I'm dealing with this process, and I'm really ministering unto myself, not in a way where I'm like not letting other people help me, but in a way where I know, like I know what to do. I know what to do. I know the things to eat, and I know the herbs to take, and I know the way to breathe, and I know the, you know, kind of like the magic words, you know, to be writing. And, you know, I've gotten really into carving from river stones with a little drill, like these little talismans from the rune alphabet, which is one of the ancient
Is that the creativity one?
Let's see. Is this one? No. Let's see. Do I have that one at hand?
It looked like it was.
They're all kind of, I mean, okay, yes. This isn't the one I was thinking of, but yeah, because this is like the king and the queen rune combined together. So that's definitely creativity.
My husband has that tattooed on his arm. That's why I know.
I noticed that. I watched him. I was like, oh, he knows what's up.
Oh, Jana, thank you so much. Is there any last closing thing you want to share before we move on?
I'll just say a little bit about myself, professionally and publicly. I'm a healer, astrologer, and shamanic practitioner living in Southwest Washington State. And my website is my name, Jana Jones, livingwoman.com.
Thank you.
Thank you, Siri.
Thank you for everything. That you're like my steady go-to for massage, and she's very particular about who she massages. So I appreciate you. You're like my therapist and my masseuse. Rebecca Joelle in the house. What's going on, Rebecca?
I have someone like that, a dual massage therapist and therapist, Tandy. Well, it's amazing to be here, to hear all of your stories, and I can't wait to listen back to all the individual episodes because you each are bringing so much forward, and I know you have each been on your own journey, have walked through the fire, and we're just seeing today's version of you, but I know that there is so much behind that, and I'm so excited to explore the previous episodes. So it's an honor to be here, and congratulations, Siri. This is incredible, 200 episodes. So honoring you. I have a little notes here because I can tend to like talk forever. The holiday season can be a whirlwind, right? And so what was coming up for me is that we can get pulled in so many directions where we're caring for other people, our kids, our families, our clients, our communities, and often our needs get pushed to the back burner. So what I am learning and what is coming up in my work with clients is expanding our capacity to feel good in this season means daring to be selfish and reframing that word as sacred. And what I mean by that is aligning with our higher self, aligning with our inner fire, aligning with source, creator, God, whatever word people want to use. And a lot of you have mentioned that already, right? Like that's the beginning and end for me. And leading from that place. And in my work with clients, I often hear women ask, like, what's my purpose? How do I attract more clients? How do I make more money? And they're doing it from their headspace, their mental space, which is, all of you know, it's so limiting because there's so much more than that, right? If we open ourselves up to that, if we open ourselves up to our divinity, remembering that we are divine, we are a fractal of source. And so the answer always comes back to one thing. Connecting with our higher self, source, which to me is one and the same, right? It's unity. We are all one. You can call it whatever you want. It's all the same to me. So it's not about chasing the money. It's not about chasing the clients. It's about following your joy, tuning into what lights you up and letting your inner fire guide the way. And so when you align with your higher self, when you align with source, creator, God, as many of you have already brought up, something magical happens. The human blocks, the resistance, the fear, I'm not good enough, overthinking, overanalyzing, dissolves away, right? We're no longer trying to strategize our way to success or strategize our way into like our divine partnership or whatever you're trying to call in, because we're seeing things from a higher perspective. And from that space, we are radiating an energy that magnetizes the right clients, the right opportunities, the right partners, the right collaborators, and the abundance to you. So it's not about creating things from our headspace and our mind and trying to strategize our way from that place. It's about creating from our passion, our soul, from source, right? Having that conversation, which is all on the inside. We cannot get it from external sources, right? And so for me, that's where true alignment lives. And that's what draws others and abundance into our lives, into our world effortlessly. And so in this busy season, I want to challenge your listeners to ask themselves, what lights you up? What do you need to feel good? And there have been so many incredible suggestions that other speakers have mentioned. Because when you honor that inner fire, you're honoring your higher self, your divinity, your connection to source, and that's where everything flows from.
Rebecca is an incredible, I don't know, is intuitive. I mean, you're psychic, you're clairvoyant, you're intuitive, you connect beyond. What do you call yourself, Rebecca?
I'm a mentor to awakened women, and I'm a truth catalyst online. And I also have the Unity membership where I guide or collaborate with and co-create this space with awakened souls and those on the awakening journey. So
She will shortcut stuff that will take a whole lifetime for you.
like collapse timelines.
Yes, collapse timelines. It's very effective, very quickly. Like, yeah. Incredible. Thank you, Rebecca, for that wisdom. And I know, like, we've all shared so many wisdom nuggets here that it's like, okay, Robyn, like, bring us home. No pressure.
I have such an unfair advantage, actually, because I've been sitting here with my pores wide open, receiving 13 miraculous souls, like the gems, the wisdom of the universe. So I'm gonna take your lead. And when I ask, as Anna, you've been talking about, and Jodi, and all of you, Jana, you've all been sharing about, oh, I'm Robyn. Hi, I'm Robyn Cohen. Hi, nice to see you. What's happening? What's happening? I've been a professional. I'm an actor for 30 years. I have an acting school. I've been teaching for 18 years. I'm a high performance coach. I'm a teacher, and I am you. You are me, and we are one. And I just want to acknowledge Siri's mom for being here as well. A special shout out. Thank you, Christine, for being the source of life for this woman. You have done such a phenomenal job. And Jodi, I have to speak to what you, we have a word in Hebrew called dayenu. And when you talked about being enough, I just vibrating with the truth of that and remembering to remember that. Thank you for that. Tori, share about your connection to the people that have come before you, breaking and ending legacies of, let's say, abuse, or in that, and ending those legacies, starting with you. I'm so inspired by that, what you share about the earth. It's so powerful and meaningful. And Michelle, I'm from Washington, D.C., so we might know each other. I was born at the Bethesda Naval Hospital. My mother recently told me that it was $14.99 for me to be born. And then she said it was worth every penny. When I hear all of you share, Dana, about the listening, I teach acting, and there's a whole technique. There's a generation of actors that learned how to meet their talent just by stopping speaking and opening their ears as you do. And you have got Anna, and just listening for God. Where would you have me go? What would you have me do? Who would you have me talk to? And what would you have me say when I get there? And having that just be at the cornerstone of everything. And Jana, when you talked about breaking the cycles of addiction, and I so got from you trust, and how, I mean, that word hadn't occurred. I had a few things I wanted to share about, I thought, but hearing all of you, when I got like, oh my God, like the trust, and it's a trust that is a universal, global, but that starts with self. I never had any faith in me. I never had any faith in me. No integrity. No, I couldn't trust anything I thought or said. life was a mess and in chaos. And I'm just noticing that, you know, what you were sharing about like the trust in self, and you can trust what you say, and the trust in God that Allah, Jesus, Hashem, take the wheel, you know, like, wow, take the wheel. So thank you for that reminder. And yes, when we get out the way, that gives rise, the magic, Rebecca, and that arises, things that weren't going to happen anyway, unless we got out of the way. It's so beautiful. And Meagan, your life, like listening to you share about your music and self-love, I think it's that amalgamation and that connection to ourselves and learning how to love ourselves is the gift that we give to the world. Our capacity to love, the charity starts at home. And I so remembered that in what you shared, like the charity starts at home, and filling ourselves so that we can pour into the people that we love and our families and the world at large. And so, and I started a podcast recently, Siri, and I realized that the idea for my podcast, congratulations on your 200 plus episodes, and the amount of joy and fun and help and nourishment and the generosity that you have put out into the world. It's just endless thanks, endless thanks to you on behalf of all of us and all of your listeners. Siri taught me how to leave voice memos. No, Siri, not you. It's okay. Not you. She taught me how to leave voice memos. And at once is about how the podcast was born and how so many things have been born from friendships with women and human beings like you all. So many things have been born just from connecting like this. The sparks start to fly. Siri would say, you know, your voicemails, they make me smile. Or you'd say something like, they really turned she would be like, oh, would you just leave me a voicemail every morning? Would you just leave me a voice memo every morning? Because it really gets me. It really sets me up for a great day. And I was like, yeah. And I would leave her voice memos. And then I was like, oh, that's the podcast. It's called Daily Joyride. And I realized the whole thing, although I am talking about arts and crafts and it's for creative people, and it really was just born to make people smile. I look around the world and I look at people's faces and we see into their souls, and I just want to bring a smile to people's faces, because there's pain and there's suffering and it's the holidays. We feel alone. And when you reflected to me that I could bring a smile to your face, I thought, that could be something. So thank you for being such a guiding light and a North Star. I'm on a mission wherever I go. I want them to have dreams and to teach them everything Jeff Goldblum, my mentor, taught me, and Bill Murray when I was on set, what he taught me about acting. I want to teach all of that to everyone, you know, that I meet, but really to like them and to delight them and to bring a smile to people's faces, as you showed me I could do, is the overarching mission of my life, and makes it worth living. So thank you. Thank you for being a space and such a guiding light for all of us, and for all of you incredible women. I'm knocked back. I can't wait to get into all of your worlds. Gently. I'm not going to be a scary stalker. It's going to be like a gentle stalking, very nice stalking into your worlds.
Gentle stalking.
Just absorb and be around you. And thank you. And God bless you all and your
Robyn.
families during this time and during all the times of the year. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, you're each such a miracle, such a goddess of light. I'm gonna close us out. Robyn, thank you for your whole heart. You're you're the stars and the moon and the sun. You're everything. So here we go. Here's the closing poem. I know we've gone over a little bit. Okay, hold on. 200 moments woven from courage, truth, and grace, each one a spark, a ripple, a quiet revolution of the heart. Here we stand, a constellation of women, radiant in our individuality, stronger in our unity, lighting the path for those who come after. This space holds more than stories. It holds transformation, a sacred ground where creativity breathes and authenticity blooms without apology. It's not perfection we celebrate, but the raw, the real, the rising. The bravery to step forward, to share, to connect, to create. To the goddesses of light, you are the keepers of this flame, the voices that make this tapestry sing, the hearts that make this space sacred. 200 is not an ending, it's a threshold, a promise, a celebration of all that has been and all that is yet to come. Together we rise with gratitude as our compass and love as the fire that lights the way. I love each of you so much. You have so much wisdom to bring to this world, so much light that you have brought to this world. If you stopped now, it would be enough. It would be more and more than enough if you didn't ever do anything ever again, because of the ripples of your wisdom and your hearts and your light. So thank you for blessing my life. Thank you for blessing this podcast. Thank you for blessing the listeners that are listening in. Please go back and listen to each of their episodes because they all have incredible, incredible journeys and stories. There is gold in every piece of their stories. There is gold in every piece of your story, listener. And we're all in this together. So please reach out to any of these women. I will put their information in the show notes. We're all here doing our best, walking this path, as a couple of these women said, walking each other home. I love you so much. This holiday season, please give yourself what you are needing. Check in with yourself every hour. What am I needing? Give it to yourself as best you can. There's so many different suggestions here you can draw from. Any of those that resonate with you, leave the rest. I love you so much. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you all very soon.